Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. If you're new here, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Marisa. I am 30 years old. I am a working mom. I am married and I'm really trying to do an audit of my life in this current season of life to improve wealth, to improve my spending, to just make my life a little bit more meaningful, because I feel like sometimes it's really easy for us to get caught up in the consumerism and social media of it all, and I'm here just to be real. Today I wanted to talk about something fun, but it's also a touchy topic, I understand, and that's going to be finances, more specifically how me and my husband did this year. As we head into 2026, I am really wanting to set some pretty steep savings goals and really just lessen my spending on things I don't need, use what I have. I'm not trying to become a minimalist because I'm very maximal in every way of life, but I am trying to just work towards building wealth so that me, my husband, and my son can have the best life possible. What I've done is yesterday I went into our accounts and I basically went through and took inventory of what we were able to save like in cash this year, what we were able to invest, and what we were able to earn from our dividends from our savings accounts. So if that's something that interests you, great. I do want to say I do understand that this year has been a really hard year for a lot of people financially, so I don't want to come off as insensitive to that. I'm just sharing my personal journey with finance this year and what we were able to save. I hope you'll stick around and watch the whole video, and let's get into it. This year was a year where we tracked our saving and we tracked all of our money for the first time a lot more in depth. We used the app Monarch. I'll insert a little icon of it there. This is not sponsored by Monarch. They do not know who I am. It is a really great app. You pay, I think, an annual subscription, and it basically breaks down all of your accounts, all of your debt, and it actually gives you like your net worth, which is really cool. So we started using that this year, and I feel like it's been a game changer for our financial situation. So I am just going to dive in and give you the numbers of what we were able to save this year. What we were able to save in cash and put into our high yield savings accounts. We have a high yield savings account with Fidelity, which basically it earns us higher dividends back on the money we put in there. So the more money we put in this account, the more money we get back once a month in dividends. So this year, I have my notebook here so I can have all my notes. So this year into that account, we were able to put $76,285, which I had no idea it was that much. And you might be like, how did you not know you were saving that much? I'll get into that in a little bit, but it's because of the way me and my husband deal with our money. We are just programmed to automatically put into savings as much as we can each month. So we don't really think about it. We just do that as soon as we get paid, and we don't think about it. So I wasn't really keeping track. I was just like, okay, I know we're saving a good amount each month. I didn't know the grand total would be that high. Into the S&P 500, we were able to put $5,110. So if you don't know what the S&P 500 is, I'm not like a finance person. All I know is that it's a really good fund. I think it's like a blend of stocks that historically is proven to steadily grow over time. So it's a really good place to throw a little bit of money each month that you will then benefit for in the future. Into our son's mutual fund. So our son is 2.5, but we are people who are planners and savers. So as soon as he was born, we started saving for him. He has a mutual fund, and that money gets invested into the S&P 500 as well. So that'll grow over time. So by the time he's like 18, 19, 20, it's going to be a lot of money. And then we also have a 529 account for him, which we did open this year. That's going to go towards like school expenses, like college in the future. So into our son's mutual fund, we put $6,112, and into his 529, we were able to put $3,481. And then I want to talk about the high yield savings account that we talked about. So the one that we use is through Fidelity. I think it's called their money market premium class high yield savings account. And in order to open that account, you have to go in with $100,000. So I know that's a lot for most people, but that was something that when me and my husband got married over 4 years ago, that was a goal of ours. We're like, we didn't have that much money. I think we maybe had like 50 grand at the time. And we were like, we just bought our house, we were doing renovations, all this stuff. But our goal was really, we want to have enough money. We want to get to 100K so we can put it in that high yield savings fund and start making more money back on our money. The cool thing about having money is the more you have, the more you make back because your money works for you. Interest rates on that account change. I don't know what it is right now. I bet I could check, but it changes month to month. But on average this year, let me see, per month, we were able to make back in between $700 to almost $900 per month. And that's free money, basically. That's money that our money was making us. So that was coming in every month. And then what we do with those dividends is we would reinvest them. So we put some in our son's mutual fund, some in the S&P 500, and some back into our high yield savings. Now that we went over the numbers, I want to dive into some situational things that have allowed us to save that much this year. The first one is that we are debt free. Aside from our mortgage on our home, we are debt free. And this is because when we both did have debt, we really did prioritize paying that off as soon as we could. I want to let our debts grow interest. So debt would be things like student loans. I didn't have student loans, but my husband did. And we also did have car payments. So we had loans on our cars. We paid off our cars as soon as we could. We paid off his student loans as soon as we could. So we kind of wiped the debt off the table before we were able to start really aggressively saving a few years ago. Another thing that contributes is our decision to buy this house. So when we were looking to buy a home when did we buy this house? We got married in it was 2022. So it was kind of like on the tail end of the pandemic. The interest rates were super low, which is awesome. I think our interest rate on our house is like 3.25%. And we were looking at houses in these really nice towns surrounding our town. And our monthly payment was going to be like $3,000 to $4,000. And we were putting offers in on these houses and we weren't getting them, which was a blessing in disguise because what we ended up doing is purchasing a really affordable home in a not so nice town with really bad school systems. I don't love living here. I want to make that clear. But we decided to do that. We decided to buy a starter home before we bought like a really nice home because that's what we felt comfortable with at the time. We didn't want to be living above our means. We didn't want to be stressed each month paying our mortgage. So the town we live in, I don't love it. It's not very nice. If I told you where I live, you'd be like, oh yeah. It's not where we plan on staying, but it's where we're starting. And because we had made this choice to buy this home, we've put some renovations into it. So it's going to resell a lot more than we bought it for. I think when we sell our house, because of all the work and renovations we put into it, we should be able to get like at least $130K more than what we actually paid for it, which is awesome. So that was good. But because of the timing that we bought it, because of the price of the home, the location, all that stuff, our monthly mortgage payments, and we have our property taxes lumped in, are super cheap. Like, I don't think if you're renting an apartment, you can beat this. So what we pay each month in property taxes and our mortgage combined is going to be, I think it's like a little under $1,200. So that fact alone, that we pay that little for housing, allows us to save so much more aggressively, which is part of our plan. Another thing that we do is we live well beneath our means. Like, people who know us in real life would never know how much money we have, and that's how we like it. I mean, obviously I'm sharing this on the internet, but like, I'm just trying to be honest and just share some tips for people. We are not fancy people. I don't shop at fancy places. I have a few designer pieces that, you know, I've collected over the years. I think I have 3 designer bags and that's it. And I'm here to tell you, don't buy designer bags. It's not worth it. We live beneath our means in the day-to-day, which really does help with saving money. So for example, could we afford to live in a nicer house? Of course. Do we want to do that quite yet and not be able to save as much? No. We do not eat out very often. We maybe go out to eat once a month, if that, take out once in a while, but we're really not people going out to eat. I do not drink alcohol. My husband doesn't really drink alcohol. Maybe like once a month he'll have a drink, but we're not big drinkers. Alcohol is expensive, especially if you go out for it. We clean our own home. We do not have someone like a house cleaner, cleaning company come in and clean it every week or bi-weekly. I clean the house. My husband cleans the house. We tag team it, so that saves us a lot of money. Beauty stuff, I've talked about this before. I do my own nails, I do my own hair. Right now my nails are looking like so sad because I was anxious the other day and I picked all my gel off and now they are hurting and sore and sad and I can't put more gel on. I just need to let them heal. So disregard the nails. But I do my own nails, I dye my own hair, I do my own facials, like stuff like that we just save money on. And another thing I want to mention is just a habit we've gotten into. As soon as one of our checks hits our checking account, we immediately look at that money sitting in our checking. We say, how much do we need to leave in checking that'll get us through till the next time we get paid? The rest of it, we immediately transfer to savings. Like, it's not even a thought. We never have a ton of money just chilling in checking. We are assessing it. We are determining how much we need to pay our bills over the next couple weeks, and then the rest of it is immediately going into savings. And because we do that, we do not touch what goes into savings. All right, and then I want to talk about job stuff this year that I think definitely contributed to us being able to save so much, because this is not like an average year. Just for context, I was at my last company as a sales rep for over 3 years, and this year I made a job switch. I took a new job at a new company. I started in March. And this job is taking a pay cut, a pretty big pay cut from what I was making at my last company. At least for now. I'm in sales, so when you're new to a company, it can take a while to start making a ton of money. But I think in time I'll get back to what I was making at my last job. But for now, it's a pay cut. And how I am paid is I get my base salary, but then every quarter at my current company, I get paid commission or bonus, whatever you want to call it, based on how I did with my numbers. Obviously, if you have a bad quarter, you're not going to make much money. If you have a good quarter, you're going to make decent money. Now, my last job was also sales. So in January, February, and March of this year, I still got my residual commission checks that were paid out to me that I'd earned from my last company. So that definitely played a part in my being able to save. Another thing would be that I won our President's Club at my last job for 2024. So in March, I was paid out my prize money for that award, which was $10,000. So that helped. And then I also did get a small sign-on bonus when I came to my new company. So that helped as well. So those are just some things that definitely contributed to us having a really good year, like beyond average. The other thing is my husband started his own business, I want to say 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago. And he was doing it very part-time, and this year he really started putting more effort into it and more time because our son started daycare and he was able to. And so he made more money this year than he has in the last 2 years. So that's been helpful. And with my husband's money, we still will have to pay taxes on that because he works for himself. We will have to pay taxes on that come tax season next year. So we also put a lot away to save accounting for that. And I understand that my situation is not everyone's situation. Like, to save and invest around 80 grand in a year is kind of insane. Like, I didn't even realize we did that much until I pulled the numbers. But I think it's important to note, like, just because you can't save 50 grand a year doesn't mean you shouldn't try to save. Obviously, your savings are going to depend on your lifestyle. They're going to depend on your income. How many kids do you have? How many mouths do you have to feed? But I think if you can start small and just like save what you can when you can, if it's the end of the week and you're like, hey, I have an extra 30 bucks in checking that I don't really need, don't go out and go to Sephora and buy a mascara or, go to the bar and get 2 beers. Put it into savings, and over time that does add up. And I know I'm young, I'm only 30, and to kind of have this level of what I consider pretty good financial stability at this age can be like confusing to people or jarring or like, how did you do that? And I'm here to tell you, like, I worked hard. Right out of college, I was financially independent and I did not have a direction. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had an English degree. I had gotten an English degree being like, I'm going to be a writer. And obviously that didn't pan out. Here we are. I ended up working retail my senior year of college. I worked at Sephora. I was a beauty advisor at Sephora. And something ignited in me where I was like, okay, I really like the beauty industry and I really like to sell. So from that, after college, I still was a beauty advisor at Sephora. I had to get a second job to be able to afford rent and groceries. I worked as a receptionist at like a massage place, which was very interesting, making minimum wage. So I was working 2 jobs. Eventually, I worked my way up into management at Sephora. I managed my own store. I left, I went to Ulta Beauty, got experience at Ulta. I was a merchandising and operations manager at Ulta Beauty. And then from Ulta Beauty, I kind of got my big break when I applied for a job that I was not qualified for, but I figured, what do I have to lose? And lo and behold, the interview process, me and the manager clicked really well, and she took a chance on me, and I ran with that chance. Was there for 3 years, did really well. And then I got my current job, which is in the aesthetic space in sales. So I'm a aesthetic sales rep. The moral of that story of me sharing my resume with you is I started in retail as an associate, like making minimum wage, clueless. And over the course of the last, how long has it been? 7 or 8 years, I would say, I've been able to completely transform my trajectory and end up where I am now. If you're working a job you don't like, if you're not making a lot of money, if you're unhappy, if you feel like you don't know what you're gonna do with your life, just know like your destiny is in your hands, and the more effort you put in to develop yourself, the more growth you will have. I also want to say, if you see a job and you're like, oh, that really interests me, but I don't think I'm qualified, apply. Apply, because guess what? You never know what can happen, and you could get the job and you could kill it, and that could be the start of a complete new life trajectory for you. Kind of to wrap it up, I know this has been kind of all over the place. Saving has been, in our 20s, saving and making smart financial decisions has been a really big part of me and my husband's lives. We really want to grind and build wealth young so that that money will just compound over time and we will be set for life. That's really important to us. And so what I encourage you to do is, when you're thinking about buying anything, like going to get a new jacket or going to go have sushi out, I think it's important to think, is this going to benefit me more than it would benefit me if I save the money? Because a lot of times getting DoorDash sushi is not going to benefit you in the long run more than putting the $60 into savings. Well, I do want to talk about goals. I think it's really important to set financial goals for yourself as we head into the new year so that you have some sort of a plan for the year. I think it's important to hold yourself accountable. If you're just like, oh, we'll just see what I can save, it's like, especially if you're someone who struggles to save. So I think it's important to have a number. I think next year, me and my husband discussed this. We are going to really try and save at least 50 grand, which is less than this year, but I still think that's a pretty good goal. 50 grand is our savings goal. I'm definitely going to keep everyone on this channel updated on how that's going. And yeah, I just want to say again, like I am very aware of how fortunate I am and how fortunate me and my husband are that we were able to have such a great year, that we were able to save so much money and plan for our future in this way. I do know that this year was a really challenging year economically for so many people. So if you are someone who is struggling, is down, I hope this video can be encouraging. And I do just want to acknowledge that, like, I feel very grateful to have been able to save what we did this year. And it's like, it's almost like I have this guilt of like sharing it with people, but at the same time, it's like I did work really freaking hard this year. Like I and my husband did. We both worked so hard to make this happen. So while I do have like it's almost like a shame, like there's almost shame around being good with money because there are so many people that are struggling. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, that is it for the video. That is everything we were able to save this year. And I am really looking forward to next year, looking forward to being even more conscious with my money and really trimming the excess fat on my spending and eliminating things in my life that I just don't need. I hope this video was encouraging. I hope it gave you some insight as to how I, as a 30-year-old, am managing my money and what I'm doing with my money. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want like more financial stuff, I'm happy to share. I feel like I was very honest in this video, so I hope that doesn't come back to bite me in the butt. I hope we can withhold judgment and just take this video for what it is, which is just me sharing what I saved this year and kind of the circumstances around that and how we were able to do that. If you yourself have any savings goals or financial goals that you're putting into place for yourself next year, definitely comment them down below because I'm always looking for new ideas. I'm always in my comments, so I love to chat with you guys. So definitely like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, comment below, say hi, and yeah, thank you for being here. The final thing that I did want to add is like this video was kind of nerve-wracking for me to film because I feel like I have anxiety over sharing my successes or like sharing money stuff, but I feel like we're coming to a place where we can be honest about that. And you know, I'm a regular human being. I'm a real person. I'm a mom, I'm a wife. I have a full-time career. I am busy. I am tired. I am stressed out. Not like some mega wealthy influencer who is out, you know, buying all the fancy things. I am just a girl. I am just a girl who wanted to make a YouTube channel and come on here and have a place to be real and just talk about stuff that I'm interested in. So if that's your thing, subscribe, like, comment below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a good day.